Madam Contest Chair, honorable judges, and fellow Toastmasters, what gives you the will to live? When I was in paramedic training, they gave us a lot of tools on learn how to save a life. One of those tools was a stethoscope. Stethoscope was an item you put in your ears and you could listen to what was on the inside of somebody's body. If you put it up to their chest, you can hear them breathe. If you put it up to their heart, you could hear their heartbeat. Dum-dum, dum-dum. And if you put it up to their abdomen, you could listen to their digestive system. I won't make any noise for that one. But when I was in paramedic school, my instructor once told me, he says, out of all the tools you're given, there's still one thing we cannot help, and that is somebody's will to live. There's no way we can instill that in somebody who's having a problem. In 2003, Australia tried to figure out what gives us the will to live. They did what was called the longevity study. They took 300,000 Australians over 10 years, measured their social interactions, their family, and tried to determine what makes people want to live just a little longer. They came back with results. If you had family, turns out it might help you a little, but not overly. If you have children, a little bit more, gives you that motivation, but still minimal results. Turns out social interactions with other individuals and having groups to be a part of has an effect on our lives like you wouldn't believe. 5 to 15 years longer you can live by being socially connected with other individuals. I'll share a quick story with you. When I was a paramedic, I had a patient named Sarah. Sarah was an 85-year-old woman who was struggling with some health problems. Picture your mother or grandmother alone in an apartment having to call 911 because they're not feeling well. When I arrived at Sarah's apartment, she told me a little story. About 10 years ago, Sarah had lost her husband. About 10 years ago, Sarah was diagnosed with leukemia. She was given 6 months to live. Her daughter, who had visited Australia, heard about the Australian study. She says, "Mother, I've had enough. You are not going to be by yourself. You're moving in with your best friend." And they did. They did everything together. What would you do if you were given 6 months to live? Sarah decided to do it all. She went to the Caribbean coast on cruise ships, checked out the gondolas in Venice, and visited St. Paul's Cathedral in the heart of Rome. She joined book clubs with her best friends. They would giggle like little children. 75, 85-year-olds having the time of their life. And I said, "Sarah, this sounds so wonderful. What's going on? Why are we here today?" She took a deep breath and she said, "My best friend died 2 weeks ago, and I'm all alone. I'm left here in this apartment. I feel not well." I said, "Let's go to the hospital. Let's get checked out." I took Sarah into our ambulance, put her on the stretcher, and we drove to the hospital. In the back, you could see that she started to sweat. She started to get pale on the skin and increasingly short of breath. As we arrived at the hospital, in a faint, quiet whisper, she looked at me and she said, "I think I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die." were the last words that I ever heard from Sarah. Now, Sarah was blessed. She got 10 extra years on her life when she was given 6 months to live. Her will to live was reignited, sparked. The flame grew, and she overcome her obstacles through social connections, through being around people, and being with friends. During these unprecedented times, what are you doing to contact your friends, your family? Are you going out of the way to make sure that you're engaging in those social connections? It might just be the reason you live. And if it's not for yourself, at least make it for somebody else. Madam Contest Chair.